On the international line on coast to coast. Shane?
Yeah, g'day, Ian. Love your program and love your ability to try to find out what the real truth is. My field has been over the last quite a few decades is looking at the generational social psychological conditioning of the Australian social system. And I try to help just basically addiction, and I look at it through a modern Pavlovian. But basically in the behaviour of our social system, you know about the Westall Incident where the UFO actually landed with 300 students and teachers observing this UFO landing in their back paddock of the school in 1966.
I have seen, I think, a portrayal of that, but I don't know how much of it was fictionalized, so I don't know. I've never seen like a documentary, but I know about the case, and it has gotten like plenty of news coverage ever since, right? I mean, it's like a mainstay in ufology in Australia, right?
Well, you're being probably under the cover-up of that problem in our society. Basically, there's witnesses in a great interview 50 years later, and all those people who've grown up now, who are eyewitnesses to this, actually 100% believable, and it was a major cover-up, and that's the problem is. But look, in my field, I could give you the Zimbabwe one where 60 other children in 1994 went out to play, and exactly the same craft, and but this one where the aliens actually came out. All those students who were actually interviewed not long after were very obviously telling the truth, and I'm just giving those two examples.
I want to sort that out there, because are you saying that 50 years later those students said that somebody came out? Because the only representation I've seen was just that a group of students saw something in the sky. Are you saying 50 years later they identified that somebody had exhibited a craft?
In the Zimbabwe one, actually witnessed the actual occupants, but in the Westall Incident near Melbourne, two students actually, I've listened to that interview, and there's other people.
I appreciate that. I'm afraid I'm out of time up against the break, but that I appreciate that. If you want to hang on for a second, I'll continue that after the top of the hour on Coast to Coast AM. This is Ian Cummings.
The Delta variant is making COVID-19 spread faster and more easily. Variants can be more contagious, aggressive, and deadly. But we know vaccines work. Vaccinated Californians have greater protection against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. We can help stop this and end this pandemic. Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Find a vaccine near you at myterm.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
AMCO presents Bet You Didn't Know.
Bet you didn't know that your car's transmission is made up of 800 pieces. Also, bet you didn't know that AMCO's fixed over 40 million transmissions, and that AMCO offers a nationwide warranty.
Are you still driving around with that check engine light on? AMCO will read and report the trouble codes on your vehicle for free. Call them today.
That's AMCO, AA, MCO.
You can't teach people desire. Some of us don't get great athletic genes. Some of us don't get great math abilities. There are a lot of people who don't get desire ability. And they tend to drift towards what kind of jobs? Government work. John and Ken. Weekdays 2 to 6 on KFI.
You think I'm going to get in trouble for what I just said?
Sure hope so.
The boss is outside the window here. It's not good. If we just keep going.
You will come in. You want to bet?
The light.
Gary and Shannon. Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KFI.
It's just silent surveillance video footage of the vagrants.
Oh, this guy, I'm watching the guy urinate. Oh, no, you can see the puddle at his feet.
Almost every segment has an oh no moment.
John and Ken. Weekdays 2 to 6.
You'll start shouting at your screen.
On KFI.
I'm not a big cheesecake.
Oh. I'm a carrot cake guy.
I'm actually such a weirdo. No, one of my favorite cakes, you ever had a ham and cheese cake?
Oh, stop it. Bill Handle.
They're the best.
Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
I have a sign in my office. Is Diet Pepsi okay? And the answer is Monopoly money okay?
Bill Handle. Mornings from 6 to 10 on KFI.
We're not just in smart speakers.
We're in a couple of smart ears as well.
KFI.
Los Angeles, Orange County. Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Still in the hospital, I'm Andrew Caravella from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Doctors for former President Clinton say they hope he will be able to be released from UC Irvine Medical Center soon. Clinton went to the hospital Tuesday night. He was diagnosed with a urinary tract infection that spread to his bloodstream.
Clinton was given an IV and is responding well to antibiotics.
ABC's Matt Gutman says the blood infection, sepsis, can be life-threatening, especially to those with heart conditions. Clinton had quadruple bypass surgery in 2004 and a pair of stents put in 2010. Clinton was in Southern California to go to some event on behalf of his charitable foundation. A new climate change model shows much of Southern California underwater a century from now.
The nonprofit organization Climate Central created models of 50 cities around the world, showing what would happen to them if no major action is taken to stop climate change. Because of rising sea levels, landmarks like the Santa Monica Pier would wind up underwater, and coastal cities like Long Beach and Huntington Beach would virtually disappear. The worst-case scenario shows the sea level rising by 20 feet if the average temperature of the planet increases by 4 degrees. Mark Ronner, KFI News.
The former executive director of California's Service Employees Union has been booked into jail for charges that include tax fraud, embezzlement, and perjury. Alma Hernandez recently stepped down from her position with the SEIU. Her husband is also charged. A Marine officer has been ordered to forfeit $5,000 in pay for criticizing military leaders over the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller posted his complaints on social media after the attack at the airport in Kabul that killed U.S. service members. Attorney Tony Busby says Scheller was also reprimanded.
Here is a Marine officer who stepped forward and was accountable for his actions, but yet the individuals, the general staff who made those decisions that killed 13 service members, many of which were 20 years old, have not stepped forward in any way to take any accountability.
Busby says Lieutenant Colonel Scheller is a hero to the Marine Corps. Southland weather from KFI. Sunny this afternoon. It will get to around 80 at the beaches to mid-90s for Metro LA, Orange County, and the valleys. High 80s and low 90s if you're in the Inland Empire. Right now, Carson 62, Palmdale 48, Anaheim 64, and in San Clemente 62 degrees. Wheelie Local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Andrew Caravella.
Crash in San Fernando on the southbound side of the 5 before San Fernando Mission Boulevard has all lanes stopped at the moment. You are jammed back to the 405. Cerritos crash on the 91 westbound to 4 Artesia Boulevard has only the carpool lane open, and heavy delays there start at Carmenita. And a new crash downtown LA as well. Eastbound side of the 10 just past Grand. Over on the right side of the freeway, backed up right before the 110 interchange. You also have all lanes closed on the 101 freeway, northbound side between the 5 and 1st Street, southbound between the 10 and the 5 for Caltrans work. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Robert Zabucky.
If you're worried about your borderline blood pressure, hear how others are taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
Garlic works safely and naturally to support my blood pressure.
Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula has a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals, so you know it works.
No garlic taste, no garlic breath.
Take charge of your blood pressure with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is
pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Discover matches all the cash back you earn on your credit card at the end of your first year. It's amazing because Discover is accepted at 99% of places in the U.S. that take credit cards. Learn more at discover.com/yes. 2021 Nielsen Report limitations apply.
Some people treat investing like a game, but Marcus by Goldman Sachs approaches investing in a smart way with digitally managed portfolios that leverage Goldman Sachs strategies. So, do you want to play games? Or do you want your money to work smart? You can money. Visit Marcus.com to learn more about saving, borrowing, and investing from Marcus by Goldman Sachs.
Investing involves risk and investments may lose value. Brokerage and investment advisory services by Goldman Sachs & Company, LLC. Member FINRA SIPC. Lending and deposits parties provided by Goldman Sachs Bank USA. Member FDIC.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress.
But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our weekend special. Save up to $800 on Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
I suggest you take a hard look at the interest rates you're paying on your credit cards, car loans, or anything else. With today's low mortgage rates and rising home values, why not refinance with Owning? Pull some cash out of your home and take control of high-interest debt. Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or log on to owning.com. In minutes at no cost or obligation, our experienced agents can tell you how much money you have sitting in your house. Then refinance at today's 30-year fixed 2.5% rate, 2.731 APR. And use some of that low-interest money to pay off debts, do things around the house, or for anything you want. Your house may be your piggy bank.
NMLS 2611, licensed by the Department of Financial Protection and Innovation in the California Residential Mortgage Lending Act. Subject to credit approved for qualified borrowers. Call 833-303-2161 for terms and conditions. Equal housing lender.
Call Owning at 8332-OWNING or log on to owning.com. That's 8332-OWNING or go to owning.com.
Good Rising. The Good Rising podcast is a collection of 6 mini shows curated to give you a daily shot of inspiration, motivation, humor, relationship advice, and even astrology. You can choose to listen to one or all of the daily Good Risings offerings available on our feed. It's the perfect daily practice for anyone looking to lead a more intentional, mindful, and inspired life. Listen to the Good Risings podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Sunlux, the company that does solar better. Go solar today at sunlux.com.
KFI AM 640. Wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk toll-free from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies toll-free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with Ian Punnett.
I think that was the song of the summer in 1976. Thin Lizzy, in honor of our discussion about Lizzie Borden coming up tomorrow night. The Curse of Lizzie Borden Saturday night on Coast to Coast AM. Mothman Privacies in the first hour. An update should be interesting. And you know, it was very interesting. Shane from Australia was talking about the Westall Incident. I've never seen a full illustration of it, but he was telling me that on Australian television anyway, there's been an update. And that they were interviewing the children that were there that had the sighting, but 50 years later, and some are reporting that something landed and something got out. I'd always heard the story that it was just a mass sighting overhead of an elementary school, but we'll get back to what Shane was talking about. We had to squeeze it in before the top of the hour, but we've got a minute for him next. On Coast to Coast AM, this is Ian Punnett.
Inflation is running hot, and now some politicians are pushing through another massive spending plan, $3.5 trillion. So here's the deal. If you're freaked out about the impact this additional spending is going to have on already high inflation, then protect your savings now. Diversify a portion of your savings into gold and silver with Birch Gold. If you haven't reached out to Birch Gold to diversify part of your IRA or 401k into a precious metals IRA, do it today. Text COAST to 989898 and get a free info kit on protecting your savings with gold. Or just buy gold or silver and have it shipped to your home. Birch Gold has an A+ rating with the BBB, countless 5-star reviews. Talk to them. Have them help you safeguard your investments. Simply text COAST to 989898 to claim your free, no obligation info kit on holding gold and silver in a tax-sheltered account. Again, text COAST to 989898 to take the first step in protecting your savings today.
Real people,
Real stories.
I have bruising that's all over my arms. 3 weeks after I was on the carnivore, I noticed, I'm looking at my arms, and I said, gee, I don't have any bruises on my arms, and I'm always full of bruises. I can't put my finger on it, but I know something's happening. I have to tell you, that has to be the carnivore.
I've got a Labrador. She can hardly lift herself up off the floor. I won't tell you what's been there instead, but the treatment was chemotherapy. And I said, no, wait. That's when I said, you know what, this could be the ticket. So I started administering her, and she took to it right away. In 3 weeks, you could tell she was very alert. 6 weeks into the protocol, she seemed like she was 100%. She was going on 5-mile walks, and I'm like, my goodness, she is just like prime again.
Call 866-836-8735. That's 866-836-8735. Or visit carnivore.com. That's carnivora.com.
I think I said Westall was an elementary school. It was a high school where this mass sighting happened in Australia in 1966. And Shane was just talking about it before we went to the top of the hour. Shane says that since then, some of the people that were involved have come forward and said that it wasn't just a sighting, that they actually witnessed the craft landing of some sort, or that they had other details that they had not previously released. Is that correct?
Absolutely, Ed. And I wanted to give the listeners and yourself up to speed to have a look at the Melbourne US mystery on Studio 10. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
The women who actually give their the witnessing account is very telling. They're not lying. This is a really, I wanted to give you up to speed with the Zimbabwe one that I thought you'd be up to speed with, and also the Westall Incident, because I've studied them both extensively.
Right.
With my work in subconscious conditioning, basically addictive behaviour, I am seeing a hostile takeover of the Australian social system right now, and I'm not joking. I really believe that this COVID thing is a cover. I'm seeing since the start of the COVID, the vast majority of people are not cognitive. They are in a state of mass hypnosis.
Well, wait. I got the jab. I'm not in mass hypnosis, right?
Well, I'd say this to most people. I ask them, have you ever been hypnotised?
No.
How would you know?
Well, I mean, first of all, hypnosis is not something that you could do to the unwilling. So right away you'd have to be in a state where you're participating in something willingly. And I think you're putting a much greater emphasis on the ability of any type of hypnotist to take over somebody else's mind against their will. What mass hypnosis are you talking about that you think led to people believing in COVID? I mean, I wasn't raised with, actually I was raised originally in Christian Science. I didn't get any immunizations until much later in life. And I did it willingly, just like I did this willingly. I weighed out the pros and cons. We did the same thing with our kids. We took a very scientific approach to it, actually. But why do you think it was mass hypnosis?
Well, I've been looking at generational behaviour, the grooming of generations with addictions as a modern Pavlovian. So I do, the Pavlovian effect.
Yeah.
Basically, you are wrong about someone can't be hypnotised against their will, because if you really do see that maybe aliens are controlling the human race or really taking over the human race, well, their ability over generations, probably since, God only knows how long, they're refining their ability to control the subconscious of the human race.
What data do you have to support that they are doing that? That speaks with a kind of empirical knowledge about they are doing it. It is a fact. How do we know that?
Well, look, I always thought there was vested interest by corporations in man's consciousness that are controlling generations within Australia. But that's why I was giving you the Westall Incident and the Zimbabwe Incident, which are very telling of people who are very seriously observing a form of alien species that they're witnessing. And from my observations, only of 40 years looking at the generational conditioning of my social system in Australia, I can only say I feel, and I really believe it's far greater than just the human race being controlled by other humans. And I am very seriously, what could you say, with the COVID, I'm very concerned about my welfare right now and other people's welfare who are still cognitive. With the introduction of electromagnetic frequencies in the 80s within our social system, I've been generationally observing from the top scientists in cellular changes that are well peer-reviewed, and one of my jobs has been trying to get better care with children's exposure to this technology. There's mainly ignorance from the federal and the state governments in regards to the literature from the top scientists that tell us that these frequencies are creating changes within the biology.
Here's what I'm hearing from you, and you pardon me, part of this starts to sound a little bit like a little bit of a word salad. I understand the words you're saying. I'm not sure how each of those chunks relate to each other, but more importantly, it seems like whenever you come across data or behavior that doesn't comport with your theory, then that becomes evidence of some mass hypnosis, and that you are somehow immune to this. So I'll cut to the chase and give you one more question, and then I gotta move on. Is how did you avoid being mass hypnotized? If everybody else has been, how did you avoid it?
Well, I don't accept that I am not partly hypnotised, but my work passionately for 40 years, 23 years seriously, working in the field of mental health, helping people who have been basically mistreated in psychiatric care, filled up with drugs and experimented on, and then other forms of conditioning generationally where, the gambling addictions and all the other addictions that plague the social system.
But how do you avoid it? How do you avoid it? If you're saying you're partially hypnotized, I don't understand the gradation of which you speak.
Well, look, I just try to do the best I can, and I haven't got all the answers, but I have been dedicated to the values that my forefathers had that were pretty cognitive, and right now I'm seeing a social system that the people generally are not cognitively reasoning with common sense, considering they've got a mask on for a long time. There's not common sense in our elderly, our mentally ill, in regards to this, so-called protection of a
I understand why you make these connections and how you feel about them. It doesn't, and this is where and I appreciate your comment, Shane, so I'll just leave it at what you said, and I'll only add this, that I'll compare with what you said with what Walt said, and what a lot of people say, is somehow everybody else is, Walt was talking about other people of not being, that they were, it was mass hypnosis that led them to see UFOs. Well, I saw a UFO when I wasn't drinking, I didn't have any drugs. I saw something and I reported it, and it's part of what started me on the path to end up being a host on Coast to Coast. And I saw that. I wasn't hypnotized, and it wasn't because I saw that UFO, which Walt would say was evidence of some sort of mass hysteria or some sort of mass hypnosis. The fact that I claim to have seen something, while you're saying seeing it somehow creates a mass hypnosis that gets me to later on get the vaccine. I don't understand how you could both be right. And I'll say this, a very interesting article earlier this week indicates that actually death by flu in general in the last year has dramatically decreased. The number of human beings that died just of the flu are down. And they're down because of what epidemiologists wish we were doing anyway, which is wearing masks. And being very careful and make sure we got our vaccines up to date. Just saying, maybe science would indicate they're right. But Chase is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. We'll get to him next on Coast to Coast AM, and we'll get to all the callers for the top of the hour, including Michelle, who owns chickens. Chase,
Yes.
It's open lines. Where are you going to take us?
All right, so I was hoping to talk with Sam earlier. I am also a Maranto.
Oh, are you really? Funny.
He is the only other Maranto that I know of out there that is into all this kind of stuff.
Well, you got to find him. He's not hard to find. Get him on the Illinois MUFON page.
Yeah, and I had a story about a Rougarou down here in South Louisiana, if y'all know what that is.
I don't, or if I did, I've forgotten. What's a Rougarou?
So a Rougarou is like almost a werewolf, Bigfoot type thing.
Oh, yeah. He's the man dog, or dog man.
Yeah,
of that area.
like almost like a Michigan dog man.
Right. Yeah, the Wisconsin man dog, yeah. Right.
Yeah, and so my story with that, and I was hoping to catch him earlier in the program, was a UFO sighting with a Rougarou, also involving like sleep paralysis and stuff like that. I was hoping to get his things or your opinion on it would be awesome if you got any insight to that.
You know who is going to have an insight on that? Is tomorrow night's guest in the first hour. He does touch on that, on sleep paralysis. Yep. So, maybe the thing to do, honestly, and I would welcome it, is if we adjourn for now, but in the first hour, Saturday night, if you can, call in, and if I put you on hold and you give Donna the number, then she can leave it for whoever is doing the phones tomorrow night. It very well might be her, and we could call you, and then you could talk to somebody who could address that very same subject about sleep paralysis.
Awesome.
Yeah, hang on a second, we'll get that done. Luke Guru was what I was trying to think of. That was the other. That was in like a Kolchak the Night Stalker or something. It sounded really cool. All right, so who else do we have in open lines who's been waiting for a while? Let's go to Chris in Columbus on Coast to Coast AM. Chris?
Yes. I won't take up as much time as the previous guest, but I'll touch on a couple things.
Well, I'll get as much time as we have. I got about 20 other people trying to get on. Go ahead.
Right. What I wanted to ask about was, I don't want to spend the money for Gaia TV. Seems like, this is my opinion only, and it's not meant to disrespect anything. Seems like Gaia TV has the best guests, and now Coast to Coast is getting second. I just want to mention that.
What? No. What do you, that's like, are you employed by Gaia TV? I haven't even heard of Gaia TV. How many people are watching it?
George Norrie, of course, is on that. That's his TV.
Well, that's one of the places where he appears. That's one of the platforms.
Yes,
but
okay, the guests on Coast to Coast is dwindling.
Who said? Why do you say that?
Here's what I do. I look on my computer to see who's going to be on Coast to Coast.
Okay.
Usually I try to get in on Friday nights, which is almost impossible. I'm trying for 3 weeks to get in. And that's the problem I have with Coast to Coast. And especially Cornelius must have a private number.
He does not. He's just a repeat caller who has it on speed dial. A lot of the callers that you hear, they start dialing in before they even announce a caller segment.
That's how I got in tonight.
There you go. Just like Cornelius.
Anyway, I will compliment the people I'd like to see on the show, like Billy Mummy. He's a great guest.
Billy Mummy, and I'd love to have him. He's fabulous. Yeah.
But you've had some wonderful people on. I just got off of Facebook page with Neil Diamond.
Cool.
Basically told them that, even though I can't perform concerts, that I hope he's still writing, and I hope that gets through. But you have wonderful guests on there. I like the, you guys, one of the guests that you had called Derek Tyler had a book out called The Difficult Truth. I bought his first book and said, well, I'm on Social Security, I can't afford the next one. He sent me a copy of the next one for free.
Well, that's very nice.
It was like Connie Willis, Jerry Wills was a great guest. She has some great guests, and you can improve it. Also, music, I'd like to hear more Paramount 3.
Okay. Well, I appreciate all of those things. That's lovely. I think it goes to prove you we are kicking butt, and that the quality of our guests has not gone down. But that's on the back end of the first comment, and I appreciate your opinion on that. I just don't think that opinion necessarily is tantamount to fact. Joseph, first-time caller line, is in Los Angeles on Coast to Coast AM. Joseph?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Sorry, I when you were on the first hour, I remembered I had this old iPhone with actual footage of the UFO that I took over the valley.
Oh, no.
So I emailed it to you guys, and then I realized I had actually spotted it 2 nights in a row. This is going 7 years now. So I logged into this old Gmail account I had, and I find it. And it's really kind of like compelling. I'm not someone who is into this 24/7, and not that people who are any more predisposed to maybe seeing this or not. But I wasn't looking for it, like you said earlier. I was just over on the Holland, looking over the valley, and with my girlfriend at the time, and there it was with this orb of organic-looking light that seemed like it was struggling to form. And man, it was some powerful stuff. So I sent it to every email you guys have on the website.
On me.
You know, to get a chance to look at it, if you find it to be as compelling as I do. It's some wild stuff, man.
Well, you don't mind us posting it if we get that select?
I'm riding the high of just finding it at this point.
Yeah.
It was lost forever.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad you did. Thank you. Appreciate that, and I can't wait to see it. And keep an eye out for it. Maybe it'll be popping up on coasttocoastam.com. Good job. I think Michelle is in Modesto, and she owns chicken. Hi, Michelle.
Hi. I just wanted to correct what the gentleman that was talking about mass hysteria was saying.
Right.
Chickens aren't the smartest animals.
No.
But when they go into what's called being broody, which means they're laying eggs to hatch chicks, they sit on the nest most of a 24-hour period, only leaving to eat. They turn the eggs. The only time they do this, because when they're just laying eggs, they lay them and leave. But when they go broody and they want to hatch chicks, they stay on the nest. They turn the eggs. They're very protective. And granted, they're not the smartest animals in the farmyard.
No.
But the way he portrayed animals, that's not true.
Yeah,
He doesn't really know what he's talking about.
Well, I mean, I think he was he's a humanist in that way, and so he looks at the world as though we are the top of the food chain, and I understand why that would be an interesting assumption, but I don't think it is, I don't think that's definitive. It's just informative, and it's his opinion. I'm with you. I think animals are a lot smarter and much more attuned to their own survival, and it's not just instinct. I think that they can ascertain danger, and I think that they may even feel it like we do. We can feel it kind of viscerally, not necessarily logically.
Well, they do. The rooster's job, when you hear a rooster crowing, in the morning they're letting the hens know they can go out. And at night they're telling them it's time to go in. But during the day, when you hear one crowing and crowing, he's alerting his flock that there's danger. There's something flying out above.
His harem, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And like I said, they're not the brightest animals, but mine have learned that when my big puppy goes outside, when I open the sliding door, they need to get out of the yard.
That's very interesting.
Range, and they will go over the fence because they know the dog's coming.
I keep thinking about getting chickens too. My wife is against the idea for the time being because she just thought it's just one more thing to have to clean up after. But I'm kind of game on that. I think it'd be really cool to have them.
Thank you so much. I love all these calls. Even if we don't agree, we can still agree that you are a good caller. And we'll get to as many as we can before the top of the hour next on Coast to Coast AM. This is the Untitled.
KFI, news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks.
I'm Andrew Caravella from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. LAX has a new parking garage. It costs $294 million and is set to open on Tuesday. LA America City says the new structure will add more than 4,000 parking spaces to the airport.
You'll have no problem finding a spot. And we'll have some of the latest technology, smart technology, to help you find one quickly and to find that car when you come back from your trip.
People can pre-book their parking spaces. And COVID-19 cases appear to be heading in the right direction in Orange County.
The average of daily COVID-19 cases dropped from 249 to 223 between October 8th through the 14th. Daily hospitalizations fell from 214 to 207, and ICU admissions fell from 44 to 40 per day. Officials in Orange County are urging people who have not yet been vaccinated for COVID-19 to do so, as well as to get their flu shot, like Charlie KFI News.
Weather brought to you by Catalina Island Company. It will get around to 80 at the beaches to mid-90s for Metro LAOC and the valleys today. High 80s and low 90s for the Inland Empire. We lead local. From the KFI 24-hour newsroom, I'm Andrew Caravella.
All lanes closed downtown LA. The northbound side of the 101 between the 5 and 1st Street. The South Transport till around the top of the hour. And the southbound side shut down as well between the 10 and the 5 until around 7 o'clock this morning. Take the 5 or the 110 instead. All lanes also closed on the 10 in both directions through Ontario between Euclid and Archibald. That's till around 10 o'clock this morning. Eastbound side being delayed from Central, westbound slow from Haven. We also have a crash to be aware of on the northbound side of the 5 in Valencia, just before Valencia Boulevard. It's a jackknife big rig in the 2 left lanes. KFI in the sky helps get you go faster. I'm Robert Subbucky.
In need of a vacation? Your Catalina Island experience awaits. And now for a limited time, stay 3 nights for the price of 2 at any Catalina Island 70 properties. Book your next vacation at visitcatalinaisland.com. That's visitcatalinaisland.com.
Hey, Drew, do you know what's really spooky during Halloween?
What, Dad?
You're